If you're a follower of Christ, you've probably taken communion. More than likely, you've taken part in this symbolic meal several times, maybe too many times to count. Today's passage covers the night when Jesus gave his disciples the bread and the wine that he said would represent his body and his blood. Now, I would like to make sure you see the connection between the communion practice to the deep Jewish symbolism that's hidden in plain sight right here in Mark's gospel. But first, let's set the stage for where this happened. Mark and the other gospel writers only tell us that the place where Jesus and his disciples ate their Passover meal was in a large, furnished upstairs room. If you visit Jerusalem today, you can indeed find a room that is associated with this event. However, this room is only 1,000 years old, if it's even that old. So there's no way that the Last Supper took place in this room 2,000 years ago. However, this still might be the right general location of where the room once stood, even though this building is outside today's old city walls. The walls around the oldest parts of Jerusalem have changed several times in the past 3,000 years because the city has been in a constant state of change. Kings have expanded and remodeled the city several times. They've made it larger, smaller, and moved the buildings to higher ground. There have also been earthquakes, fires, and wars, so the city walls we see today are not the same walls people from the Bible would have known. The city was incredibly small when David was king. Solomon doubled the size of Jerusalem and built its first temple. Hezekiah made it larger still, and then Herod the Great radically remodeled Jerusalem just before Jesus was born. Of course, another 2,000 years have passed since the time of Jesus, and the city has continued to change. Now, all the growth is in the newer parts of Jerusalem where the population has soared beyond 1 million people. Here's the point to remember. When you see or visit a site in Jerusalem today, like the upper room, it may be impossible to pinpoint the exact location of where a biblical event happened. Thankfully, archaeologists are uncovering more and more locations connected with biblical stories. As they dig down to find the past, they've uncovered places like the Pool of Siloam and even the street that led to this massive reservoir. Jesus once sent a blind man with mud on his eyes to the Siloam pool, and now we can retrace his steps as we remember that amazing miracle. But as for the Last Supper, it's highly unlikely the actual room will ever be uncovered or identified. What we can uncover are some secrets hidden in plain sight about the final meal Jesus had with his disciples before his crucifixion. First of all, and this is so important, this was a Passover meal. It was a Jewish meal. If you've never been to a Passover meal, you really should. It's impossible to convey the power of this meal and its connection to Jesus until you experience it. This is, beyond question, the most symbolic meal in the world. Jewish people have been telling the story of their escape from Egypt through the Passover meal for centuries, and every item on the table symbolizes a part of the story. From the tears the people knew while they were in bondage, to the bricks they made for Pharaoh, to the 10 plagues that came against Pharaoh and all of Egypt, there is nothing accidental about this meal. At the center of the table is a Passover lamb. At the original Passover event on the night the Exodus began, families marked the doors of their homes with the blood of the lamb they had just killed. All who were inside those homes, the ones marked by the blood of the lamb, those homes were safe. Those people were safe when the death angel came through Egypt. The death angel passed over those homes. But those who were not protected by the blood of the lamb suffered greatly. All of Egypt wailed that night for their firstborn children. In Jewish homes, the meal that night had been rushed. There had been no time to allow the bread to rise. It was a flat bread. It had no leaven. Now, in time, centuries later, but before Jesus was born, a new tradition developed. Leaven came to represent sin. That's why even today, Jewish families search their homes high and low for any kind of yeast, any kind of leaven. They removed leaven as a way of symbolically removing sin from their lives. Therefore, when Jesus held up the bread of this meal, he was holding sin-free bread. And he said to his disciples, "This is my body." In a moment, he took a cup of wine. It was called the cup of redemption, and said, "This is my blood." We've heard these phrases so many times, that this is my body, this is my blood. It's easy to miss the shock value of what Jesus did. He took the core elements of the world's most symbolic meal and said, "This is about me. This meal has always pointed to me. I am the completion of the Passover story." Imagine how his enemies would have reacted if they had been in the room when he said these things. Or imagine what they would have thought if they had heard John the Baptist call Jesus the Lamb of God. Those words would have seemed so scandalous to his enemies, it's possible, maybe even probable, that Jesus would not have lived through the night. As it was, Jesus was crucified just a few hours later. As for the way Jesus had held up the bread and the wine during the Passover meal, his disciples would not fully comprehend what Jesus had done until after the resurrection. But in time, they got it. Jesus was the Lamb of God. His life was sinless. His blood did provide redemption or salvation. So the next time you're taking part in communion, try to take it all in. The bread, the cup, the story of the Exodus, and that wonderful truth that you've been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb.